There we go. Happy Saturday, my guys. Happy hodling. How's it going? How's it going? Hopefully everyone's doing well. This weekend has finally come. It couldn't have come soon enough. Good Lord. It's just been a long week with work and everything else. But, it's nice to at least see us trading level. We had that little bit of a scary dip down into this section here that we made a video of. And, things like this are going to happen. I did say that we could potentially, like when we got up here, I did say that we could potentially go down to, roughly below 30,000. We obviously didn't. We obviously held pretty well. Even through this dip, did pretty well. So not terribly concerned with where Bitcoin's going in the near term. How's it going, Vapor? How's it going, Geo? Drop a like as well. Help out the algorithm. Really appreciate it, guys. How's it going, Polkadot? Hey, Nate. Morning. So right now, Bitcoin is currently trading at 35,683. I pulled up some articles here. We're going to talk about some. The first one that I wanted to discuss because somebody, I think it might have been you, Nate, that mentioned you were surprised to see Kevin O'Leary on at the Bitcoin conference, even like hosting a segment. And I agree because, back, it wasn't that long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, that Kevin O'Leary specifically was just like, no, Bitcoin's a scam, Bitcoin's a Ponzi. Then I think Pompliano tried to talk him into Bitcoin and he was still very hesitant about it. But at the same time, he was investing in, medical mushroom companies. So, how's it going, Mark? How's it going, Noodle? Making an espresso. There we go. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. It's a little cloudy, but it's warm, but it's not too warm. We're at 23, but we were at 30 yesterday here in Ontario. So it's funny here, and the only reason I bring up Kevin O'Leary is specifically to understand exactly how the sentiment is shifting, even though the price is low. Because right now you see all these people pile in and buy Bitcoin, especially at the 35,000 mark. This is probably the best entry that they're going to get, anytime. Maybe they'll see an entry below 30K, but at this point, I probably wouldn't take a risk. If I was just entering the market now, I'd absolutely be grabbing some Bitcoin. Yeah, he was such a Bitcoin bear, and I think he was the same with a lot of altcoins. But I think that tune might be changing a little bit. But either way, even if he is just Bitcoin, that's a-okay for me. Whatever. I actually appreciate Kevin O'Leary's opinion on a good amount of things. I think he's relatively intelligent in terms of his business ideology. But I think he took an incredibly stupid stance on Bitcoin when it was first being discussed. So, but hey, better late than never. Onto the Bitcoin train. So good for Kevin. Yeah, here in Strathroy, it's clear skies, beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a little cloudy, but hopefully it'll clear up. I might sneak out for a bike ride, but we'll see how that works. I have a lot to do today. The next big piece of news is India. So India is making a classification on Bitcoin. So if you guys don't remember, India just recently banned Bitcoin not too long ago. So it's now funny seeing the sentiment change, and we could probably say a lot of this sentiment is due to El Salvador making it legal tender. I think that was a big step for other countries, especially India, and then they start realizing, oh hey, if we actually do have this as legal tender, it could be very beneficial for the country down the road, especially early on. You got to think right now, everyone's thinking that the end-all be-all is having monetary policy and the ability to print money as the best option for governments, which it clearly isn't. There is going to be an eventual death of fiat currency, and I think the countries that now adopt Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are really going to be leagues ahead of the countries that don't adopt it at all or keep hard legislation against it. So yeah, he's super intelligent, very good businessman. I like a lot of his deals on Shark Tank too. I know some of them could be seemed as shafting, but I get it from his perspective. Often he wants royalties and that paid back to him in perpetuity. He's securing an income and investing in good companies. So I don't see anything wrong with that, especially, where it is. I think his evaluations are pretty correct in terms of where he's valuing the companies. I overall respect Kevin O'Leary. I think overall he makes good judgment calls. But So definitely like El Salvador and a bunch of other things are really like pushing other countries to be able to accept Bitcoin as an asset, as a currency. So if India classifies Bitcoin as an asset, essentially this allows people to trade within exchanges, which is big because we don't want to lose India as a trading population, because India is huge. We don't want to lose India and Indian residents to not be able to trade on crypto. So is it legal? I see. I don't know. I don't know what the international policy would be on that, because we can see some countries trading goods in other currencies. They don't have to trade in one currency or the other. We saw that with Saddam Hussein, for example, tried to trade oil under the euro instead of the USD, which sparked a lot of messiness in the Middle East at that point. But I don't know if you could ban a legal tender from another country. That's actually a really interesting thought, because if you can't ban a legal tender, well, at that point you couldn't ban Bitcoin from where it is a legal tender. So interesting, but I don't know what the international law would be. I don't know how much power that the IMF would have to be able to enforce something like that. That is a very sketchy zone. Really, I think countries more or less can do whatever the hell they want. Like, who's going to tell North Korea not to accept USD if they wanted to, right? So, but it'd be the same thing because I get your thinking, like, now that Bitcoin is legal tender in El Salvador, could they ban it? I think they still could, or at least ban their citizens from using it, but maybe they just can't ban El Salvadorians buying goods with it. But then I don't think that matters, because it's in a foreign jurisdiction. So I don't think that applies. I'm pretty sure they'd still be able to ban it. Yeah. But who knows? But again, like, going through the motions, it's hilarious how government is now coming back onto this Bitcoin train and everything else. Because now we have Jared Polis, the governor for Colorado, trying to make it so you can pay back your taxes with cryptocurrency, which is going to be big for the state of Colorado, because if you think about it, and the U.S. government just seized a bunch of Bitcoin from that oil pipeline stuff, or cryptocurrency. I don't think it was specified as Bitcoin, from the pipeline hacking or whatever that mess was. At this point, the government is invested in cryptocurrencies. They have cryptocurrencies in their coffers. They had it from when the Silk Road shut down and they took all that money from Ross Ulbricht. They essentially, at that point, were investing in Bitcoin, and then I believe they auctioned that off. But the government for sure has some crypto, but moving into individual states holding crypto and taking crypto for taxes and distributing that, or keeping it in a treasury of some kind or something, is hugely bullish on where we're going to go for blockchain and cryptocurrencies, because obviously the state is bullish to it. But you also got to think of how well Colorado is going to do over states that don't accept cryptocurrency, right? So if you get, a state that maybe really rejects crypto, similar to what New York has with their really stringent legislations, and then you have states like Wyoming and Colorado, they're really ahead of the game in terms of where we're going with cryptocurrency. So I think that alone is just going to mean those states are going to be in a better standpoint going into the new blockchain world. So good for them, to be honest. Yeah, Colorado is, honestly, if I was going to live in the States, it would probably be between Austin, Texas, or Colorado. One of the two. But obviously super, like, this should just make you bullish, right? So seeing the news, right, and you see Bitcoin sitting here at 35,000. Everyone's scared and afraid of what's happening with Bitcoin, but you see what's happening in the background, right? Everyone's talking about Bitcoin. Everyone's talking about buying it. Everyone's talking about cryptocurrencies. This is the buy-in, the ultimate accumulation phase. I don't think we'll ever see something like this, or an opportunity like this, quite like this in the next couple of years. Maybe until the next market cycle, we might see something. But this is by far one of the best opportunities that anybody could have gotten if you're early or if you're new into the crypto space. So haven't missed much, man. How's it going? Welcome back. But overall, it's been a wild ride. And again, going down the government path, Iran's president said he wants to legalize cryptocurrencies as soon as possible. And I really want to hit this home because this is big. This is one of the most contentious issues between the U.S. or between two countries. It's the U.S. and Iran. This is huge in terms of that. Now, we know that China and the U.S. have its individual issues and they're in an almost economic race in themselves. But seeing Iran make this step to move onto having cryptocurrencies, I think this is going to light a fire under the United States' ass. I think specifically the federal government is going to have to respond. And the federal government has to accept cryptocurrency at some point. You can't see some of their competitors at this point accept cryptocurrency, especially when there's such a huge disconnect between the two governments. There's a lot of policy issues and everything else in the back end. And again, I don't want to discuss politics specifically, but just know a competitor of the United States, a competitor in terms of this could break out into a military action. A competitor taking this stance on cryptocurrency can only be bullish on where cryptocurrencies are going to go, because if a competitor is doing it, the US has to fall in line and has to take it on. Because imagine if the US died on the fiat hill while Iran was on cryptocurrency. At the end of it, that's a lot of money that they're going to have out of the increase in crypto. So I absolutely think at this point it should be bullish that these governments are moving into a more cryptocurrency light. I think this is really going to open the door and really put a rush on the United States government. I would love to see like the laws and the regulations in New York just be completely wiped out. I would love to see that. I think that would be the best thing for the United States. But we see governments are making moves. They're moving to cryptocurrencies and they're legalizing it. And I think a lot of it has to do with El Salvador making that push. I think that kind of legitimized Bitcoin. And I think that's going to start a flood of both countries coming into Bitcoin and on top of that, individual investors. How's it going, Gary? How's things? How's everything going? How's your weekend? Yeah, all legalization and adoption comes out of periods to buy Bitcoin. And that's the big thing, right? You didn't hear about all these governments coming in up here. You heard about down here. Oh, Noodle, I love you too, buddy. I can't wait for sushi. I think everything's open. We're going to have sushi a little bit later. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I think this dip, and I know a lot of people got scared with this dip, right? And I get it. I do understand that this is scary. I'm not scared because obviously I've been in through the bear market of 2020, so I wasn't in before. But I'm in the green because of that, right? Because of all of this zone that I was buying here, up and around this zone, I'm obviously in the green. And that's just a testament to show you exactly where it's going to be. If you're buying down here, you are going to be in the green eventually. It's about time. Time is on your side, so don't worry too much. Close your eyes and buy. That's the best investment advice I've ever gotten in my life. Yeah, we're years away from Bitcoin to be accepted as regular payment. And that alone should be bullish, right? Because, we are so ridiculously early and we're front running countries at this point. If you're in Bitcoin right now, you are front running countries coming into Bitcoin. And putting it in their reserves and putting it in their coffers. We already see companies doing it. We already see companies putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets. More companies are going to announce. I'm sure more companies are buying and they just haven't reported yet. A lot of those filings have to be reported to the SEC, and I think they have to be announced within a certain period of their reporting. I'm not sure of the exact legislation, so excuse me of this. It could be on the new year or something, but I remember when MicroStrategies bought Bitcoin, they actually had to report it to the SEC and make it public. Same thing with Tesla, right? So I think a lot of these companies are going to be coming out soon saying that they bought Bitcoin. And I think it's going to be this dip. You're not going to hear about it during the dip, but you're going to hear about it essentially after. Once Bitcoin is back up to 50, 60K, then you're going to start hearing that they all bought Bitcoin over at 35K, right? I asked my boss to pay me in Bitcoin. That was a funny conversation. Didn't end up the way that I wanted it, though. So unfortunately not. Yeah, Milton's a nice area. The outskirts of the GTA are nice. I wouldn't like to live in like Mississauga, Etobicoke, Scarborough, or anything. Maybe Scarborough. On the outskirts of Scarborough, I'd be fine with it. But I'm not a big city guy, though. I think so. Gio, you could be right in terms of the Lightning Network is making it a little bit closer than we think. But I think the big hurdle here is more the regulation side and the legislation side, I'd probably say. But, you know, I could be wrong. It's nice to see countries onboard it, though. I think within the next 5 years, we'll see a lot of countries onboarding onto cryptocurrencies and CBDCs. How's it going, Steve G? Just got on. Oh, like that's cool. So he's working for ShakePay and they can pay him in Bitcoin. That's pretty interesting. That's awesome. It's good to see that businesses are doing that. I'd love to be paid in cryptocurrency. I think the biggest issue is, and I like this is the issue right now, right? And that's why I'd be like super psyched for like a Celsius or a BlockFi credit card to pay all like your bills and everything and just pay that off with cryptocurrency. I think that'd be super cool. But you know, right now it's hard because you still need fiat to pay bills and everything else, so your phone and everything. So yeah, see, that's one thing about that area too, Gen Canadian. And like, I agree with you. Like, you probably couldn't pay me. I've actually turned down jobs that were in Toronto to stay where I am. But no, it's just, it's too rich there too. It's like, it's too expensive for, I don't know, living in the GTA. I don't have a PO box. Maybe we'll organize something. I'll maybe organize a PO box, or like I'll DM you an address or something, and then we can work something out, buddy. Try some of your coffee. Yeah, so I actually mine ETH as well. So I mine ETH passively on this PC that we're on right now. So you can see here what I mine. Average hash rate of 57, right? Now, the good thing about mining is when you're mining and you're just mining as like a user level, so just like one person, or you have like a couple of rigs as a hobby, this isn't actually classified as income at all. When you sell it, you get capital gains from it, but the money that comes in is actually just classified as hobby, so you don't have to claim it on your taxes. So anything that I get from my miner, I don't have to claim. If I sell it and it has raised from the point that I got it at that point you have to claim your taxes. Now, consult with the CPA. This is just what I read on the CRA website, so maybe I'm not kind of understanding everything there. But it's just, at this point, I would say that you're on the right track of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I would start branching out into hedging your bets. So if you like Ethereum, maybe look a little bit in Cardano. Actually, Vitalik had an interesting interview that I haven't watched yet. Apparently, he talked about Cardano and how it's bringing a lot of different things to the space. So it's not exact competitor. But I personally would branch off. I know a lot of people like just going with Bitcoin or Ethereum. But I personally would branch off and collect a little bit more high cap coins. But definitely get into the Bitcoin and Ethereum game. Yeah, right now I work remote, which is nice. Like I work from home the whole time. I've been pretty lucky through it all. I've been working from home basically since March 11th of 2020. Ever since then, just been home. It's not as great as you think, though. Holy crap! Just working in the same place that you eat and sleep and everything else, it's been a nightmare. It's gonna be nice. I have a big a vacation coming up in a week. I'm leaving on the 18th. I'm gonna be making videos actually while I'm away. Like I'm gonna be going out to the mountains over in Alberta. So I'll probably talk about some things that happen on my mind that we want to talk about cryptocurrency related. While I'm on a hike or something, talk about DeFi. I'll edit it up while I'm in while I'm back at camp and go ahead and upload it at the nearest Wi-Fi or as soon as I get my hotspot. So definitely look out for that. But over the next week after the 18th, videos are going to be sporadic until I get back. But so there won't be a live stream next week. But I'm going over to Alberta. It's an entire road trip going right from Ontario to Alberta, all through Canada, not going through the United States border because, you know, the border's still closed. But yeah, at this point, you know, I have one shot in me. I'm ready to go and get heading over to have a little bit of a road trip here. I've been just too cooped up. It's been hard, you know, being home. I'm sure everyone else feels it. You know, a good vacation is well needed. Yeah, Alberta is nice. I have a lot of family out there. My buddy here wants me to talk about Doge, and I think I've talked about Doge a little bit. And just one point that I'm going to say about Doge, because yes, it is a meme coin and everything else, but the real meme, and I put out a short about this, the real meme about Dogecoin is it's actually harder than fiat currencies, so the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. I would rather be paid in Dogecoin than I would in US or CAD, and that's not a meme. So a group live chat. What's that mean? Oh, like have a couple of people on and everything. Yeah, we can definitely work out. I think what I want to do though, instead of that, because I like having this, but I would really like to do a podcast where I have guests on. You know, I like having the one-on-one with the community. I like having one-on-one time to talk about coins and everything else. But can I do a video on tax implications for Canada? I might put out some tax tips, right? But the tricky part is I want to shy away from too much advice on that because I'm not like a trained CPA or anything. So it's hard for me to give tax advice or tax implications when, you know, it could be misunderstood and even by me. And, you know, if I say something that's incorrect, it could get you in hot water and I don't want to do that. My default advice is always just hire somebody, especially this year for me. I'm not creating many capital gains taxable events for myself, but I am creating a lot of taxable events in terms of my DeFi yields and everything else. So that part's going to be a little bit tricky. But I think I'm confident enough to be able to handle that. And it's not going to be too much that's it's going to throw me out of whack. If I was taking capital gains, it would really put me into a tax bracket that I wouldn't want to be in. So, yeah, not a financial advisor at all. But I can do a tips video. We could talk about some tax platforms because there are tax platforms that were... Like if you go to Binance, you can get an API code, which you can link to another program and it'll show like the sales and everything else. And it'll put it all in that program and that program will do your tax for you. So that's the plan. Yeah. So I plan on doing a podcast. I'm thinking we'll probably have it air somewhere like the Friday, be very consistent on it. Or Sunday, depending. I maybe switch around the days, switch around my schedule. But I'd love to have it not only just me, but also have people on. Maybe more of like a one-on-one conversation. It'd be nice to eventually get CEOs of token projects and ICOs. So eventually we will move into that. Like the channel is growing. We're working on building the channel into a lot more. We're working on kind of building up the brand of Haas Hodls and you know, social media and everything else, getting our presence out there and building this up. So obviously the podcast for me has always been something that I wanted to do. I even started out the channel. My very first video was a podcast, so that was like the intention from the get-go. But it's time to kind of get onto that and start going down that route. So I think once I get back, I'll probably plan it out a little bit more, plan out a podcasting schedule. And see if maybe the first one I'll do by myself, and then after that I'll reach out to people and see if anyone wants to join and have a conversation. So I think it'll be good. How's it going, young man? How's things? We love the Hodl fam here. Also, there are 23 viewers here. Go ahead and give a like to the video, guys. There's 14 likes. Bitcoin is currently sitting. I gotta mute that. Jesus. Bitcoin is currently sitting over at 35,510. The total crypto market cap is sitting at $1.5 trillion. So it's dipped down, obviously, through the dip yesterday. So we saw Bitcoin kind of recovered a little bit. Not really. It's more like holding. But the altcoin market definitely took a tumble with Bitcoin last night, which I'm kind of curious exactly what sparked that tumble. I didn't look too much into it, so I'm still wondering. Takes a long time to. For like the channel, I think right now what the channel is doing, because it's the summer, everyone's getting out more, the lockdowns are less. There's obviously less views coming into the channels, so that's one contributor to things being slow. But I'm excited to take this vacation, especially now, because it seems to be being taken in kind of a lull period, which is going to be nice. And then hopefully we start booting up by the fall once cryptocurrency starts getting bullish. And I saw that actually with my charts of my channel before, because when I started my channel, it was just before everything started to get going. And then once everything started to get going, obviously the channel started blowing up pretty quick, and then it went through a lull. So it's pretty funny to see the channel actually move with crypto charts. I find that hilarious. But we're getting to 3K. We're pushing it. It's been a little bit less. What I got to do in terms of the strategy for the channel, and this is behind the scenes for you guys. Strategy for the channel. I got to make more searchable content, more tutorials. So I'm gonna have more DeFi tutorials out. We've talked about like Pancake Swap and Ape Swap and DeFi and everything else. I plan on making a video of each of those, basically going through how to bridge onto the systems, how to add liquidity, what to do with your harvests. Same thing with the Polkadot system. There's a lot of big stuff happening with the PSwap system anyway. And then you see with the KSM chain that just the parachain that just successfully went with Kraken. Apparently that did very, very well. So I'm super excited with all of that. I think everyone should be like really bullish on where Polkadot's going to go. Channel versus BTC chart. I think that's hilarious. I think we will absolutely do something like that. Because it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny when you see crypto go up and then the channel views go up. Especially with some coins. When Polkadot did their big pump and it pumped to like 45 or even $50. All of a sudden, all my Polkadot videos started just getting a rush of people. It was pretty hilarious. But Keisha, I don't know if Keisha. No, we could take a quick look though. I don't mind taking a look at some altcoins. When I look at altcoins though, I'm not endorsing any altcoins. I just want to take a quick look if I don't know them. So, is that how you spell it? I'll wait for you. But up 200% yesterday. Yeah, it depends on the token. Some new tokens will typically go up and shoot up a lot really quick. But it depends on the token. Let's see if we have any big movers. I don't see anything there, but yeah, 200% is pretty nice, but it is contingent of whether or not you can get in before the pump. There are some really good projects though. Internet Computer, holy, okay, so Internet Computer. I didn't know that it was this low. So last time I looked at this was down to like $80. Okay, this is exactly, if you look at how cryptocurrencies launch, this is exactly how they launch. They go through, they pump really high up, and then they go through an extended bleed, especially if they pump really, really high. And this pumped $500. Is that actually real? So you see it now going down here. We're getting closer to the point where we're bottoming out. Now we could go lower, but I'd probably say at this point, it's a good time to DCA. I would never enter a new token all at once unless I was avoiding some fees. So you guys saw me do that with Zor when I was going into the PSwap system. I dropped a lump sum on it on the get-go, mainly to avoid the gas fee for the bridge. But with something like this, if you're entering a token, especially a token that you're super bullish on in the long term, like ICP, at that point, this is probably a fantastic time to start DCAing, especially at these prices. So Kishu, okay, let's take it. Oh, is it another like Shiba Inu coin? Kisha Inu. Okay, so it's sort of like a Dogecoin. It really depends. Now the thing is, we're inching. So the one part that I don't like is the current supply. When you get a current supply this size, I just don't like it. That's like you get into the Doge, the Safe Moon, the Shiba Inu territory, and I'm not saying that you can't make money here. You absolutely can. My best advice is chuck $100 in YOLO and don't think about it. But if they have like good DeFi products, they could do well. But you have a lot of competition from the legitimate tokens, and I'm not saying they're illegitimate at all. I'm just saying I would prefer better max supply tokens. I'm not a big thing of that number. Okay, and it looks like usage rewards. So what? Every time you make a transaction, you earn. Yeah, 100 quadrillion supply is the big turnoff for me. So, not saying you can't make money, man. I'm not, but you have 19 billion of them. Good Lord. Hey, I'm not immune to it, guys. I own 1 million Safe Moon, okay? Approximately $6, all right? So, I'm not immune, but hey, listen, like, I find when you have things like DeFi, you have things like Pancake Swap, you have things like Polkaswap, there's better like things to do with your money, in my opinion. Now that's not to say that I'm right, and like you gotta take my advice with a grain of salt too. I'm just here doing my own research, right? So if you find something that maybe I don't see, by all means. But here I am, like I'm earning 435% on this. Now obviously I'm getting it because the token is just coming out. So it's not like we're always going to get these yields. But at this point, I'm bullish on where the DEX is going to go, being a cross-chain DEX trying to get Polkaswap. Actually, if you look into it, I wonder if I can get on the actual website. Let's see here. Because on the website, they have their roadmap. And here they say Q2. DeFi node chain, so they're working to get the BSC, Polkadot, Avalanche, Solana as collateral on the platform, and working to integrate those blockchains. So once DeFi has the capability to do the cross-platform DeFi, I think that's going to be great. So. You know what, Gary, you're one step closer, right? Because you've been doing Pancake Swap, and honestly, like it's so a buddy of mine, you guys see him in chat all the time. He's not here now, but Andrew, he actually started, like he very new to DeFi. He started with Pancake Swap, and moved on to DeFi. So, I absolutely recommend. Yeah, no worries. I think so. All next week, what I'm doing this weekend and over the next couple of days is I'm going to be putting out, or I'm going to be editing videos for a guide for the BSC. So we're going to do Pancake Swap and Ape Swap. I'm going to do a guide for bridging over to Matic and using DeFi, and then I'm going to be making a guide for P-Swap. So all three of those guys should be coming out next week. So check those out. Follow those. I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself to one, right? A lot of people are just like, oh, I just use DeFi, or I just use Pancake Swap. I use all three. I don't see why you wouldn't use all three. Why not hedge your bet and be on multiple different platforms? I'm bullish on all of them. And if I can find yields and spread out my cryptocurrency and avoid, things like rug pulls and everything else by just being on multiple different platforms, that to me is powerful. So, yeah, exactly. Take $50. Split it up into two tokens, right? So I have for DeFi, it's DeFi and Matic. You could do in Pancake, I'm doing Hot Cross, which is another cross-chain DEX, Hot Cross and BNB. So you can do 25 in each, and then put it up as a liquidity pair, and just put it in there, and you'll get a little earning. So. Yeah, I would absolutely recommend, at least for me, I would distribute it, right? Especially when you're looking at high APYs, and you're like, people are gonna say that there are rug pulls, and there are, right? Even on something like Pancake Swap, there are going to be rug pulls, 100%. But the whole point is to spread out what you're doing. So even though in my pools, I'm in two pools right now, and we'll take a look at that. I'm in, oh, sorry, not pools, farms. So I'm in 2 farms right now. So 2 liquidity pairs. One is Cake and BNB earning at 56%. And one is Hot Cross and BNB earning 220%. Now you might ask, well, why are you not all in Hot Cross? It's earning much more APY. Well, because I feel safer in Cake and BNB, right? Hot Cross is still not like a full-fledged DEX, right? They're just speculation on what they're trying to do. So I'm speculating that the token's going to go up, but I'm earning more out of this pool than here. But obviously this pool is safer. And then I have way more in Polkaswap because I'm a little bit more bullish on the Polkaswap system, right? So it's all about identifying your risk on each individual platform. And I'd probably say at this point, I have the least amount on DeFi. Yeah, it's amazing it's very important to distribute your risk. I just took a plunge into DeFi a few days ago. Super easy. It's so easy. It's just intimidating when you first look at it. I felt like when I first started pooling liquidity on Uniswap, now I stopped because the gas fees were just unreal. It just wasn't worth it for me. But when I did it the first time, I was so overwhelmed. Like, it was so overwhelming looking at it and trying to understand how all this is working, how my tokens are working. Why is it that when I break the liquidity pool that my tokens are different? Why do I get one more than one token than the other? I don't understand how I'm earning the fees. But once you actually start doing it, and slowly by slowly, you start to understand. Once you provide liquidity, it starts to click in your head exactly how this is working. And essentially all you're doing is you're pooling up your crypto with a bunch of other people to trade with. So when you're on Binance and you're trading, say, Ethereum and Bitcoin, you're not trading like my Ethereum and my Bitcoin. You're trading Binance's Ethereum, Binance's Bitcoin, right? So that's Binance's cryptocurrency that they're allowing you to trade with. Well, on a decentralized exchange, we still need crypto to trade with. So it's all the users that provide the liquidity that we trade with. And those go into one giant pool and people trade with this one pool. And that's where we get impermanent loss in LP tokens. It can be a little bit hard to understand at first, definitely. I'd say Polkaswap, man. I don't know why. Like, I think Polkadex looks nice, but I don't know. I'm not trying to piss anyone off too. If you like Polkadex, you like Polkadex, but I'm bullish on the Zora network. I don't know why you would go Polkadex over Polkaswap personally, but that's just me. That's just me. So me and my opinion. Sound quality is way better. I appreciate that, man. It was driving me up the wall. I put foam here. I got to still put up one more panel probably in front of me. Like, I have a diamond shape here, but I'm going to put 2 more slots. And I'm thinking like one way up in the corner so you guys can't see it. And then I still got to decorate the back. I got to put like shelving. I'm going to put like pictures over on this side here. So we're going to work on this. This is a whole work in progress. So obviously we're working to build up this channel and make Haas Hodl something here. So I took the first dive as well, created a MetaMask, and so here's the biggest thing with MetaMask. I didn't get involved with MetaMask back when they gave away free Uni tokens for anyone that made a MetaMask account. The biggest thing that I learned from that is take some risk, get in early, because if you get in early, you could get amazing rewards. So I'm getting 455% DeFi token. So sure, DeFi could, be a flop. DeFi could go nowhere. Or DeFi could actually be a really good DEX because it's a cross-chain DEX on the Matic system. I'm bullish on the idea. I'm bullish on the Matic system. So why couldn't it appreciate in value? And I'm getting all these DeFi tokens now early on before anyone else. So when other people are earning DeFi tokens, they're earning much less than I did. So I'm front running all those people. So that's the power of being one of the first adopters in the system. I feel the same thing about Polkaswap, right? Because now that I'm in Polkaswap, I'm earning more of a yield than anyone else is going to earn in the end. So I think we were earning somewhere around 230%. I think right now we're earning somewhere around 200% per Zor token. So it's going to lessen over time. The more money that comes in the system, the APYs are going to lessen. So it's important now to get involved. That way you start to get these earnings and get those things. And sometimes you're going to get really cool airdrops like that Uni token. Yeah, it was super successful because Uni just pumped. But I think because Uni pumped and Chainlink pumped all while crypto was in a lull. I think if we see a good summer lull here, then at that point we could see DeFi, boom, throughout the summer. So even though crypto and Bitcoin might just trade level, we could see DeFi go. We could see an NFT season. I don't think of NFT seasons like that in a way, because I think NFTs are fundamentally something different. Because an NFT is a way to validate an item. I think the individual items like art and everything else, that will go through a season, right? But I don't think the NFT technology themselves will go through a season. Basically what I'm saying is, just because some types of NFTs are going up, not all NFTs are going up. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying NFT is more of like a class of things, whereas like we could see the individual things like NFT art or NFT music, or those individual things go through a pump. But obviously where NFTs are going in the long term, if you think about the royalty market, think about all these musicians that have all these royalties on their music by a bunch of legacy record labels that are just milking all these new age rappers and everything. And these people have been in the industry for decades, right? It was since old school hip hop days. So if you look at all of those record labels and what NFTs do, this is directly going against the royalty market. NFTs directly hit that market, which is very, very powerful for things like bands and everything else, and musicians and artists going down. So I'm incredibly bullish on the NFT space as a whole. But I don't know if we could see like an NFT season in terms of all NFTs will boom. You still got to be careful of what NFT you buy, right? Like for me, if I like saw a Banksy, like if Banksy put up an NFT, I'd probably want to own something like that, because one, you get the name, you have the digital ownership of it. But I wouldn't just be buying any NFT depending on what it was. So that's my take on it. I think NFTs are great. One of the best things that you could have done just a couple of years ago is buy a hollow Charizard. So there's a demand for collectors. What do I use to keep track of my coins? So admittedly, we're not doing well. I easily have, like, I'd probably estimate I easily have between 5 to like 8 grand United States dollars of value completely missing, but I track everything on my Blockfolio. So it's hard because I don't have my APIs hooked up on my different areas, but I think that's more because I have so many different platforms. Like if you counted the amount of wallets I have, the amount of the yield lending platforms I'm on, so like Nexo, Celsius, I have some on staking pools in Kraken, I have some in KuCoin, I have some on a Ledger, I have some, it's all over the place. I use Binance for the most part, but it's still very, very difficult to get like a full accurate take on where my portfolio is right now. I'd say the biggest thing that I'm not tracking is how much is coming in from DeFi. So that's going to be a pain when it comes to tax time. That's my concern. But it is what it is, I guess. But I'd say right now BlockFi. BlockFi is like the simplest for me. And the thing that I do with BlockFi is I don't worry so much about the actual price that I bought the token at. But what I make sure of on BlockFi is anytime I sell a token, I mark it and I issue the sell in BlockFi. Hey, get away from that. Hey. Sorry, hold on one second. Get away from that. Come on. That way I can go back to my transactions and look, okay, when did I sell, and then mark those transactions, go to my platform where I had that transaction, get the exact number and use that for tax time. So I am in no way giving anyone tax advice, because that seems like the most mismanaged way to track your taxes. But that is my strategy right now, that and API technology. So why is everyone launching their own marketplace? In terms of, like NFT marketplaces, I think because people are looking at it in the same way. Like if you look at Rarible the token, right, for the platform. And same thing with like the Mintable platform and all the other NFT platforms. I don't know if OpenSea has a token. But if you look at those, they're going to go through a similar boom, same as like wallet tokens did, same as platform exchange tokens did, right? We saw Binance pumped. We saw BTR went through a good pump, actually, from like 8 cents to almost like 40 cents for a little bit, and then drop down. I think you're going to see a similar type of pump with a lot of NFT platforms. But I agree, there's a lot of marketplaces out there. But at the same time, competition is good, and we want competition in the space, especially in cryptocurrency. So, yeah, actually, so I haven't updated this in a long time. So this is completely out of date for like my actual portfolio, but you might actually be able to see like some of like my early days of cryptocurrency. So yeah, this is like early time. But you can track everything here as well, right? And you can look at your total profit loss and everything else and your total portfolio change. So you can track here. But I haven't used this in a while. Like I don't even own Digibyte anymore. So yeah. Unfortunately, I don't own Digibyte. I sold at the worst time to sell Digibyte. But you can track with CoinGecko if you like a more desktop platform. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to taxes. The one good thing about tax time this year is I haven't sold much, right? So I don't have much capital gains. The pain in the ass that I'm imagining is the DeFi. So I don't think I'm going to get hit as hard as I thought I was going to, because I thought I was going to be cashing out this year. But obviously if we don't cash out this year, or if I don't cash out this year and cash out in 2022, like we're thinking, like if the bull market extends to 2022, then at that point, I only have to worry about my DeFi profits and the little taxable events that I used with like liquidating and moving around some things on my portfolio. But that's a very small amount. If I ever sell crypto, it's a very, very small amount. It's probably like my small positions and consolidating them. So I should have looked more into mining Digibyte, but I figured because I'm mining Ethereum, why mine Digibyte? So it's funny because back when I started the YouTube channel, maybe like a month to 2 months in, my computer died. My whole motherboard had fried. So I wasn't sure where the CPU was, but at that point, okay, like let's just rebuild the system. So I bought a new motherboard, and I ended up snagging a GPU. With that GPU, the GPU has now paid back for the computer repairs and is now paying back itself just by mining. I also, because housing is a nightmare right now, I just rent, but I'm lucky to rent in a place that doesn't charge me hydro. So on top of everything, I don't pay my hydro, and I'm getting free Ethereum every month. So that's money off my rent, basically, is how I think about it. So it's either money off my rent or paying back my computer, but this is all profit. And the best part is it's under Canadian law, it's considered as a hobby. So I don't have to pay gains for this unless I sell it at an increase. $100K is that $100K to get in profits, or are you talking about $100K Bitcoin to start selling? Yeah, so all of my Ethereum, all the Ethereum that I've been getting lately, because I no longer, I've been DCAing in Ethereum and Bitcoin since this last drop. So I have been buying Ethereum outside of this. But before that, all of my new Ethereum has basically been coming into this. And I just, my paychecks obviously go into cryptocurrencies. So this is just another way. And here's the thing. If you add on how much I make, right? If you look at like how much I make on PancakeSwap a day, right? How much I make on ApeSwap, how much I make on DeFi, how much I'm making on my Celsius app, how much I'm making on Polkaswap, how much I'm making from mining, all these little tiny income streams really start to add up, right? And especially when crypto starts really booming and I'm earning a yield on a lot of this stuff, this is just stuff that's going to be incredibly bullish in the future, because I'm not doing anything with this. I'm not like buying things with my Ethereum. I'm not consuming more things. I'm not buying, clothes and everything else. I use my paycheck for that. So all of this goes right into HODL bags and into DeFi and earning more of a yield. So when you add up all these little things, yeah, you're going pretty good. I have a 3080, not a 2080, and not a Ti. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a Ti, man. The bots were just snagging them up. So I got the first thing that, like, I would have settled for what is it, 3060 or 3070. I would have settled for the one lower, but I ended up snagging a 3080, and I was like, hell yeah. Yeah, Steve, if you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see. I think OBS took a dump there. Hopefully everything's looking good. Okay, sorry. I think either my internet cut out or OBS. But you can go ahead and email me there. You can get me on Instagram, and so I have a new Instagram actually at HossHodls. So definitely go follow that Instagram. You can DM me there. You can DM me on Discord. But just make sure you are DMing me. I'm not going to DM you first at any point, but make sure that you are talking to me, right? I'd never be upset if you verify that you're talking to me if you're on Discord or something. But obviously, if you email to that email, you're absolutely going to get to me. Or if you get me on the Instagram or on my Discord itself. So just be careful out there. You know, don't talk to scammers. There are a lot of them out there, even for the smaller YouTubers. You'd be surprised to know, like, every one of my videos get a spike in external traffic, and it's all WhatsApp traffic, and that's all the bots that come in. Like, you can only do so much, and when these bots are just so relentless, putting comments on every single video, changing their outlays of their channels to look exactly like yours, it's ridiculous. But they wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't making money. But yeah, man, honestly, passive income is the way. So when you get there, that's what you should be working on. So it's at HossHodls. I think that's just what it is when you go on Instagram. If you just search that up, there's not going to be any content on there now, so it's different from Onyx Block. I'm eventually going to phase out Onyx Block, but I know some people are still followed over there and talk to me over there. So hopefully those people can switch over to the other Instagram, and I'll probably just end up closing that account just when I know people aren't reaching out to it. Yeah, man, like they're crazy, and it's hilarious too, because what I do, I 100 IQ, or yeah, what is it, 10,000 IQ'd them. I took their WhatsApp numbers, so every time somebody posts a specific WhatsApp number, I put that in the blocked words section. So now you see it where all the bots are just commenting on regular comments, like actual comments, and you see a stream of bot comments because the actual comment got blocked initially, and the bots just went to comment on something else. It's pretty hilarious to see, but yeah, it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Holy crap. Like, if you're on Telegram, and I did the exact same thing. I was on Telegram, and I had an issue, and you guys saw that with the live stream. I was bridging over Ethereum over to Polkadot. What happened is my gas fee was too low at the time, and I had to add more gas to speed up the transaction. So I did that once I closed the stream, once I figured out what was going on. And then at that point, it completed, but the ETH wasn't showing up in my wallet. So I made a comment in the Telegram. Now somebody replied to me, great, and they told me exactly like what I should do and wait. And I could trust that it was the actual admin. But I got messages from people claiming that they were the admin. It's absolutely ridiculous. I would honestly say that if you don't use Telegram normally, just don't use it. I use Telegram simply because it's easier to get technical help from certain areas, but I never promote it. I never promote my Telegram. I never tell people what my Telegram is because I don't want people messaging me on Telegram at all. I don't use that as a communication area. I use it for help with PSwap and other areas. I never will be on Telegram to talk to you. So there are a couple exceptions. Like I joined a buddy's Telegram group. But other than that, like I would never trust Telegram at all. I just, for me, Discord is always going to be my best point of contact, especially if you tag me. That's going to be the best way to get to me. How's it going, right? Yeah, man. Telegram is just it's a hot spot, man. It's a hot spot for those areas. Turning into Regina. I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. I'm gonna be doing the exact same drive that you're doing right now, and I'm so excited. I don't know how you're feeling. I think by the end of it, I'll probably feeling like what you're feeling because you seemed pretty exhausted last time I talked to you. But you know, I'm super excited for the drive. I will also, while I am away for those 2 weeks, so I'm leaving on the 18th. So keep in mind the next Saturday, right? Next week Saturday, we are not going to have a live stream. I will be putting out some videos while I'm away, especially if something crazy happens in the market. I'll sure to stop and everything else and do a overall view of where the market is going. Noodle, you son of a bitch, stop donating. How much would it take? No. This is a crypto stream, okay? And I am not going to lose subs. So absolutely not. We are not karaokeing. So I already sang Roxanne at work, during a meeting. That's enough. All right. Yeah. Exhausted, but mentally refreshed. I'm sure that's the feeling that I want, man, because work's crazy, been cooped up. Everything's starting to open up a little bit more now. Everything's getting a little bit more, less locked down here in Canada. So, I'm just super excited to get out. I think I've just had too much being inside. Noodle. Okay, buddy, calm down. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the support, buddy. Thank you so much for the support. But no, I think it's gonna be a good trip. I'm excited just to get out of here, man. That's the big thing for me. I'm 2 hours out of Toronto, so I'm actually I don't mind saying where I am. I'm in London, Ontario. So I'm not dead in Toronto. But I know a lot of people are from Toronto. When things start to kind of lighten up, definitely when things start to lighten up, maybe we'll organize something, because I know a lot of people here are from Tim and Nancy Danter's channel. And have seen me on Crypto Night in Canada, also High Rise channel. If any of you guys are from me, go ahead and check both of them out. The Crypto Night in Canada, I'm usually on every Wednesday. I obviously won't be on while I'm on my trip, but definitely go check out both those channels. So High Rise Investing for Change and Tim and Nancy Danter, the crypto couple. But we definitely should at some point, when things get a little bit more lenient, maybe get together at a pub or a patio or something, and kind of do a little meetup, because I think there's a lot of people in this area, and it'd be nice to meet everyone, get a face to all the names. So yeah, man, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. You should definitely take a trip. But I think that'd be cool, especially when things can lighten up a little bit. So yeah, I'm super excited for the trip, honestly. I think it's just it's time. Plus I need to use my vacation, right? At this point, I think what is it, HR basically said use it or lose it, because nobody took vacation last year, obviously. So it's time to use it. And I'm a big camper myself. I love to camp. So I'm basically going to be throwing my my mountain bike in the back of my car. I have a little mattress in my car, and I'm literally going to be stopping at campsites the entire way up. I'm going to go into the mountains. I'm going to camp basically at Saskatchewan Crossing in the Rocky Mountains, stay there for a couple of days, then drive on down. Probably see some family out in Edmonton, but overall, I'm super stoked for the ride. And I think it's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for me. I'm going to put some behind the scenes up on the Instagram and the YouTube and everything else, so you guys are going to be able to get to see more of the trip too. Want to see if you'd be selling cake and moving it into Binance so you can cash out. So yeah, it's actually not that hard. I can show you. We can actually do a bit of a tutorial later on, but it's relatively easy. So when you go to Binance, for example, and I got to open up my Binance here. So bear with me, and I can get that for you. But it's relatively simple because when you're sending it on your MetaMask, so if you have it on PancakeSwap and you withdraw it from, say, the stake pool or the liquidity pair that you're providing, then at that point it's in your MetaMask and on the Binance Smart Chain. So what you end up doing is you end up going to your Binance account. You want to go to your spot wallet. And then at that point, when you're at your spot wallet, and I'm just signing in, sorry, I'm just putting in codes off screen. But when you go to your spot wallet, then you just make sure that you select the BSC and then deposit the cake right into there. So I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So if you look at my Binance, and I completely cleaned out my Binance so I could do kind of a swing trading series later on. But if I put cake here, and I get cake and I get my deposit, right? So this requires having cake in my Binance Smart Chain wallet, so in my MetaMask. So if I'm in Pancake, right, and say I harvest this cake here, so I'm going to harvest this $3. We'll pay the little fee to harvest this. So if I wanted to harvest this, I could send this to this wallet address, right? So if I go to my Binance, select cake, and you can do this with BNB as well and send it from your Binance Smart Chain over to Binance. And then at this point, you can go ahead and sell the cake and buy USD. So it's very simple. All you have to do is pull it out. I have my MetaMask, so you can't see my MetaMask obviously, but I have my MetaMask saying that it's coming in. And then once I have it, I can go ahead and withdraw it and put it directly into here, either by scanning this or by copying and pasting that address. So it's all really simple. So you can withdraw at any point on PancakeSwap. So it's really not all that difficult. What I did recently is to get into Matic. So I had a good amount of money in PancakeSwap. And I earned roughly $1,000 worth of cake token. So what I did is I took that $1,000, paid back a loan that I had with Celsius, and that cryptocurrency came off lock. I took a bigger loan, so $1,700 loan for the cryptocurrency. So I relocked up my cryptocurrency on Celsius. I actually got $25 as a bonus to take out that loan. So the loan is basically free at this point. And then I took that entire loan and put it into DeFi and Matic. And now I'm earning 455% or 430% now on DeFi and Matic. So when I switch here, you can see that I'm earning roughly 6.6 Matic a day. And this is basically the loan and like $200, I think. Essentially, I look at my DeFi portfolio completely different than my HODL bags. I'm much more, it's easier for me to go and sell a DeFi position, especially when I've earned it on liquidity pools. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. I want to go to Banff and Jasper, spend a couple of days in the mountains, take my bike on some trails. It's going to be so exciting. Never camped a day in your life. It depends on what you like. Some people aren't like a huge fan of camping. I will, I've camped, little, like 15-pound packs, like really like minimalist camping. I've done portage sites. I'm a huge camper, but the best fun that I've had is just the drinking with friends, right? And usually I'm the person that handles the fire and everything else, but everyone's super comfortable and everything. It depends on what kind of camping you like to do, right? If you just want to have fun, there's a way to do that. If you want to do some serious camping, there's also some good ways to do that. I do not participate yet in any of the crowd loans. I know that you mentioned the platform, but I haven't looked into enough of the crowd loans to participate, but I should. I need to look into that. Do you keep the loan as long as you have collateral to back it? Yeah, so essentially how it works is, let's see here. I'm gonna bring this up. You might not be able to see it that well. But how it works is, well, I can at least read it to you. So for example, I have my Cell token that I just recently locked up, and hopefully you guys can see what's going on there. So you can see the little loan there and everything. but I'll read this to you. So if I go to the loan details, so what it has stated is my margin call, which means that I have to add more funds in as collateral because my ratio is down. So I take my loans as 1-to-4 ratio, which means I put up 4 times the collateral as much as the loan, right? So if my loan is $1,750, I'm putting 4 times that as collateral. That way I only pay a 1% interest rate, right? So very, very low interest rate, and that's the whole goal. Now the benefit is Cell Token needs to drop to $2.99 for me to be margin called, which means I need to add more Cell Token. If Cell Token were to drop to $2.43, at that point I'm at risk of liquidating my position. So as long as I continue to add or pay back the loan or restructure the loan, then I'm fine. Now Celsius doesn't liquidate. They try not to liquidate at all. I think even in the last dip, they only liquidated maybe like 12 to 14 people out of all of their customers, which is a pretty low number. So I trust Celsius. I really like Celsius. I've done a lot of loans with them. I've continuously built up my portfolio basically on that. If you look at a loan and having a 1% interest rate on the loan, and then I'm getting a bonus. So if right now, if you're on Celsius and you use the promo code BTC Love until June 16th, if you do that, you'll get $25 on a $500 loan. So I got basically my interest back to me in the bonus. On top of that, I'm putting it into DeFi and I'm earning 430% on DeFi. So right there pays back anything that I would have had to pay for the loan. So the loan is essentially free. This is the exact same strategy that people use with Aave, which is why I want to get involved with Aave soon. But I just don't have enough collateral to move on to Aave. But that is next step at this point. But right now, I'm perfectly happy with Celsius. I've been very pleased with their loan structures, and I've never had a problem. Yeah, so you're free to close the loan whenever you want. The only thing that you have to do is you have to pay back all the interest that you agreed on. So if I wanted to close the loan that I just took out, I have to pay all of the interest back, which the total interest is $8.84. Or $8.77, sorry. So essentially I just have to pay that amount to get my loan back, and I can get it back whenever I want. I can close it now in the app. Before you had to email them, but now you can just close it as long as you have the money in there. So my whole plan is to take these loans, go into DeFi, earn a yield from the DeFi, liquidate some of the earnings, pay back the loan, and restructure it and do it over and over and over again. This way, what I do is I don't have to sell my Cell Token, and I don't have to sell my Bitcoin. I don't create taxable events for myself there. I'm creating taxable events selling crypto to pay back the loan, sure. But I'm not creating taxable events, and I'm not selling my Cell Token or my Bitcoin, which are the two tokens that I'm most bullish on. Why sell your tokens when you can borrow against them and then pay it back later? So it's much more, in my opinion, it's much more beneficial. So that's the way that I do it. And that's, if you think about it, this is how a lot of like people that have like billions of dollars or even millions of dollars, people leverage their assets, leverage their buildings, leverage their homes at low APYs to invest in other things. This is exactly what I'm doing, but at a micro level. So you only need, so if you want to take a $500 loan on Celsius, for example, you would only need $2,000 worth of Bitcoin to take a $500 loan. Yes, well, essentially you are. So think about how Binance borrows, right? So Celsius lends to Binance. So they don't just lend them the cryptocurrency, right? So if Binance says it wants Cardano, or not Cardano because it's not on there yet. If Binance wants, say, Chainlink, right? They don't just give Binance the Chainlink. Binance gives them 4 times in Bitcoin for them to give them that Chainlink, right? They have collateral. These are collateralized loans. The most secure loans that you're going to have are going to, or the most profitable loans and the safest loans are secured loans, right? Loans with collateral, because you have a more likelihood of getting them paid back. And then for the borrower, you have a less interest rate. So I could take like a 4-year loan on my Bitcoin and like buy a house on a 1% interest rate. That's an incredible loan for a down payment. So I'm super bullish on Celsius. If you guys want to try out Celsius, there's a promo code down in the description. You'll get $40 for signing up and depositing $400 worth of crypto. So it's free $400 if you, as long as you don't withdraw it within a month. If you do withdraw it, you're just gonna cancel out the reward, but you know, it's no big deal. You also support the channel if you do that as well. So absolutely. So you're basically yield farming. Yeah. So I'm basically yield farming with Define, Pancake Swap, and everything else, and I'm just using the loans to augment that and go into more yield farming platforms. So at this point, I'd absolutely recommend people to start dipping their toes into it. And if you look at my DeFi portfolio, right, I probably say roughly, it's hard to say, but like we can add up everything. I think I have like $2,000 in Matic Define, or at least I put $2,000 in. I know it's not $2,000 now. I have maybe 25 to 3,500 in Yield Watch in BSC. Let's see the total. Yeah, so around 3,300. And then I probably say roughly $6,000 in Polkaswap. So looking at all that, that's probably like $10,000 in total in my DeFi portfolio, which is not at all representative of what my HODL bags are. Again, my HODL bags are completely different. My DeFi portfolio, I'm more likely to move around and shift around on things. And I'm also building it up. So I didn't build it up with a lump sum. I didn't like take my HODL bags and liquidate some HODL bags to go in. I just started taking loans in Celsius to build up my DeFi portfolio, and also dollar cost averaging normally with paychecks and everything else. So yeah, so I'm actually on the Define pools for Polygon Matic. I am not using QuickSwap, so Define is just a newer DEX that's out than QuickSwap. So right now, the only pool that I'm currently in is Matic and Define, but I do want to get into Root and Define. And like, I'd like to provide liquidity on some other ones as well. So the Define token is the one that I know the most about so far on the Matic system. I don't know so much about Root quite yet. I know some people have talked a lot about it. I don't know much about Luna, but I've heard good things. So there's a lot of good pairs to farm on both Define or QuickSwap if you're on QuickSwap. Whatever you're on. So we are coming up to an hour and 12 minutes, so I'll give a couple of minutes here for last minute questions to roll in. We'll go over the crypto market cap while we wait for any questions or anything else. Again, it's a beautiful Saturday. It's only 23 degrees out, which is nice and cool. It's not too warm. KSM, actually, I want to talk about this. I want to make a video on KSM very, very soon, because if you look at KSM over the dip, it held pretty well, and even during that dip, it was pumping. And the reason why it pumped is because of the successful parachain auction. Obviously, it dipped with Bitcoin's recent dip, and it didn't have like the news pumping it up. So it obviously capitulated down a little bit. But, KSM holding above that $400 mark that we've talked about, I think anytime that KSM is below $400 is absolutely a steal. At this point, I'm also buying some DOT at this level. Looking at DOT at this level, I'm hugely bullish on where DOT's going to go. And seeing DOT at roughly $20 makes me want to DCA a lot more into DOT. I've bought a little bit more into DOT. This is the time to build up my bags. It's hard for me to say to buy DOT because like I've been buying DOT since like $2. But seeing a price like this, you're at least looking at 100% gain here, because in the near term, and I say near term as in like the next 5 months, in the near term, it's going to go up to $40. It's eventually going to go back up there. And where it's going to go by the end of the cycle, I definitely think $150 Polkadot is still in the cards. So Titan and Matic on Polycat or Beefy. What do you prefer? I've heard a lot about Beefy. I haven't heard so much about Polycat. Which is better, do you think, young man? Because I know you're all about that Matic and Matic DeFi. Yeah, I think it would be possible. But a good HODL, and especially if you look at like where it's gone, right? Hold on, I'm not on the right chart. especially when you look at like where it's gone for KSM. Like, holy crap, when you look at this chart, this just it makes you smile, man. This is a beautiful chart. This is an amazing chart. I think where KSM is going to go in the long term, the tokenomics has the tokenomics to reach at least 4K. I put out a video on that. I don't think a price point to that regard would be that far out of the cards. So essentially, I definitely think KSM could do that, because if you look at the 10 million supply, the bullish sentiment about the ecosystem, I'm super excited about it. Better UI. Taki makes good stuff. I think I might have seen some of his videos actually, if I'm right, because recently I've been looking at a lot more Matic stuff. Let's see here. See if I recognize him. Oh no, I'm thinking of another guy. I'm thinking of I feel like he's Polish or something, but yeah, I'll check him out right now. I have his YouTube up right now, so I'm gonna take a look at some of his stuff and see maybe some positions to enter and build up my DeFi portfolio. That's how I'm looking at it. Again, I'm looking at it completely different from my actual HODL bags, and building this up separately. So I'm not really taking much from my HODL bags. Now, when like something like Flare comes out for the XRP blockchain, eventually I'll be providing my XRP as liquidity as well. And same thing with Cardano on the Sunday swap DEX. I'll be providing that as well. So eventually more of my HODL bags will get to DeFi, but I'm waiting for those chains to be live. I don't want to stake those tokens off their chains on another chain. Do I believe in the AMC squeeze? In terms of AMC, the company, okay, this is what I believe. I believe the AMC, the company, has no business at the value, and I felt the same way about GameStop. That being said, what the squeeze is, I don't see that as a thing directed at the stock specifically, right? Sure, AMC is the specific stock that we're squeezing, but this is more of a push against the hedge funds and a push against financial institutions. I do not see this about AMC or GameStop at all. I don't think that actually has anything to do with the rationale of why we're doing it. Do I agree with it? Absolutely. Fight against the hedge funds. Now, the thing is, the importance of shorting in the market, right? We need shorting. It's very, very important that we have shorting. Shorting finds things like the 2008 financial crisis with the housing market. Shorting finds these issues within the market. Shorting helps uncover fraud and other issues. But when hedge funds are misusing shorting, I don't think it is in any way unethical for someone else to take advantage of their over shorting and abuse of the shorting system to abuse them and get them out. So it's almost like counteracting their counteraction of the market, right? I absolutely believe in longing against the shorters if you are just pushing out hedge funds because they're manipulating the price. Because obviously what they do is they short. And then when they're ready to stop their shorts and get out, the price would pump up and they'd be the ones buying at the low prices to get the price to go back up, right? And then they do the whole round again and continue their cycle. So the hedge funds were just churning out money and doing that. So it's just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Thanks, Hi Rye. I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, $40 free Bitcoin. Like, why not? I'm not sure if United States people get $40 in Bitcoin. They might get USDC, but I think they get Bitcoin. I know for US investors, you can't buy Cell token unless you're accredited, but I think that might change in a little bit. But definitely check out Celsius. They actually just came out with their desktop application too. You can't do anything with your loans or anything in the desktop. But it's a good way to look at your portfolio and deposit crypto into your portfolio. So if you're more of a desktop person, they are now bringing out that functionality. But I'm hugely bullish on it. They're regulated in New York. They operate globally. They have to have their assets back. They're constantly audited by the community. So Celsius is like a huge platform. It's really a sleeping giant. And also with the Cell token too, if you look at the Cell token and how that works is essentially the Cell token. Every time I earn interest, so if I earn interest on my Bitcoin and I earn that in Cell token instead of Bitcoin, I'm getting a higher yield, so I'm getting a higher return. And on top of that, whenever I earn Cell, they buy the Cell from the open market to give it to me as interest, right? So they're buying my interest from the open market, taking it off exchanges and putting it into hodlers' wallets, which is this basic flywheel effect. So more hodlers realize that there's more retention and more hodling power and support power in the Cell token. They can earn a higher yield in Cell token. They get bullish on Cell token. So more and more start earning, and it's just this flywheel. And then once the network effect really starts to pick up, at that point, it's off to the races. And if you look at it, I think we still only have a couple 100 million users. We're not even at 1 billion users, but we're almost at like, I think 10 billion assets. So, yeah, if you're in it for the squeeze against the hedge funds, man, absolutely. If you're in it because AMC or GameStop are fundamentally good companies, you got to think about your investment strategy. But I don't look at it as that. I look at it as a protest against the hedge funds. And for that, hell yeah, man, stick it to them. I have no sympathy for these hedge fund managers getting liquidated. Absolutely no sympathy at all. Yeah, I earn most of my stuff in Cell unless I'm like really bullish on one specific token. I may earn that in kind, but it really just depends on the token. We're at an hour and 21 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their Saturday morning. Obviously, even with Bitcoin, being in its level trade right now at 35,000. Again, to recap the beginning of the stream, there's a lot of bullish sentiment. We have Kevin O'Leary, we have India, we have Colorado, the Colorado governor, and then we have Iran, right? We have a lot of governments now moving to crypto, so don't stress it. Take advantage and get ready for a hot DeFi summer, because that's what's going to happen this summer. Get involved with DeFi, start earning a yield, start earning on cryptocurrencies while we're in the low period. This is the time. And make sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, guys. Hopefully everyone enjoys your weekend, and take it easy.